Hi, my name's Gabrielle Palmer. I'm a 15-year-old equestrian from Kennebunk, Maine. I discovered that I wanted to start taking lessons when I was 5 years old after me and my family went downtown to a fair that was being held, and I sat on top of a horse for my very first time. And after that, I was just like, I really, really want to start riding and like actually start riding instead of just sitting on a horse maybe once or twice a year. So I was begging my mom to get me lessons. And then one day my mom told me I could go and check out this barn that she found in Sanford. So I did, and I fell in love with the place. And then a week later, I started taking lessons there. I think in that moment when I got on a horse finally, I kind of felt like I quote unquote belonged on a horse. So I kept with it, and I have been now riding for 10 years. I've ridden at 3 different barns, and all the experiences I've had have been similar but different. At the first barn, I started when I was really young, so I didn't really know much about riding, and I was at Lucky Clover Stables in Sanford, Maine. I had some pretty big confidence issues with trying to get over jumps and cantering all the small ponies, and it was more of a hunter barn where I was jumping and I was doing all the things that I've been wanting to do. I just didn't have the confidence, and I didn't feel like I could learn very much from them as my trainer was really young. So I decided that I wanted to leave that barn and go to a different barn where I had some more friends at. I went to High Standard Stables in Wells, and that barn was a good fit for me for at least 2 years, and then I started seeing that I was being held back instead of being allowed to go forward like every other student that was there. But I definitely felt like I wasn't doing much. I was getting the same lesson over and over again, and I wasn't really progressing as much as I would like. So I said, I don't want to do this. I wasn't jumping. I wasn't doing the things that I wanted to do. So I came here to Swan Brook, and within the first month of being here, I started jumping a lot more. I progressed so much. My riding has gotten 20 times better, and I've been able to actually see a future and actually be able to think about doing bigger stuff and more complicated stuff. It was a big difference from all my other barns where instead of being held back a little bit or not having enough confidence, I was able to be let free and have all the confidence I needed. In the past year and a half since I've been at Swan Brook, I've leased 3 different horses. I started leasing a horse named Brimmy, an X-Race horse, where I rode him for around 9 months. And those were some of the best 9 months of my life, where I got to just build a bond. I got to learn and ride, and not really care about too much about him like spooking and everything, because I knew he was a very safe horse to ride. And after that, I started riding my second lease horse, Tori, where she was a lot more high maintenance and a lot harder to make a bond with. And I didn't ride her for that long. It was around 4 months that I was actually leasing her until she fell lame and was not being able to be ridden anymore. I was in a kind of a slump for a little while where I wasn't riding as much as I would like to. And then my trainer offered me 2 different horses I could start leasing. It was Huey, the current horse I'm riding, and then another horse, Comet, who was more green, and I wanted a horse that was able to bring me out to do the big stuff.
This is Huey, and he is blind in his left eye. I like to call it his eyebrow eye because it's the only one that has this little eyebrow right here. And he is 16 years old, or turning 16. We were both born in 2006. So I like to say that we celebrate our birthdays together. So we are going to be celebrating our 16th birthday together. And I have been riding him for around 4 months now.
In the short months that I've been riding him, I've built a bond with him that I don't know if I've ever had a bond with a horse like I do with Huey. We just kind of understand each other. We're kind of the same in the ways of stubbornness. Showing is definitely one of my passions. It's definitely the factor that made me fall in love with the sport more. I've been able to settle a lot of my show nerves, which are definitely something some people have problems with. And I used to kind of have problems with show nerves, but since I've shown so much, it's kind of just been like, oh, it's just a show. It's not really that scary. Boyd Martin is a 3-time Olympian, and I recently worked with Boyd Martin, and it was definitely an amazing experience. A few years ago, if someone would have told me that I would be having a lesson with Boyd Martin, I'd have been like, yeah, no, I would not be, because that was always something I was like, Boyd Martin would never like come to a small town in New Hampshire or Maine. I would say something different about me as a rider is that I am willing to help other people with their stuff before I'm going to do my own stuff. So, like, if someone needs help getting tacked up and we're both in the same class, I will most likely go and help get them tacked up, because if they ask for help, they obviously need the help. But I know that I'm willing to help other people, and I'm definitely willing to spend more time at the barn than I spend anywhere else and kind of give myself to riding. Last year I was a working student for my trainer, and this year I still am, but a working student's main job is to help with getting horses ready and working around the barn, and that really does help with gaining responsibility and respect at the barn. Definitely the working student job was not necessarily eye-opening, but it definitely helped me see that I wanted to work with horses in the future. Even if I don't go professional, I definitely want to have horses when I'm older, and I want to keep on working this even if it just stays a hobby. I want to become an architect, where my main goal is kind of just building barns. I've always kind of had that thing in my brain that's like, oh, that would be a really nice plot for a really nice barn, or that barn's really nice, I like the look of it and everything. So building is kind of just like that thing where I can like plan it really well in my head and fill spaces really well, and it kind of just all works in my mind, whereas sometimes for other people it might not. The one thing that's always stuck with me is becoming a professional rider. So I feel like if I work hard enough, I will be able to make it to being a professional rider, and I think that's definitely a goal that I'm going to really try to accomplish.